Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. One of the longest, if not the longest, motions to suppress that is available in the public docket, November 14th, 2024, is filed by Mr. Kohberger, is the one we're going to talk about now, which is the motion to suppress and memorandum in support relative to pen trap and trace device. This is a form of a surveillance tool that allows law enforcement to see what types of calls are coming in and out, if it's attached to a phone, if it's attached to a computer, what sorts of things a person is looking up, that sort of thing. But with respect to Mr. Kohberger's motion to suppress, says here, page 1, he is seeking to suppress all information that law enforcement received as a result of not just this trap and trace device that was associated with his phone, but also all data found by law enforcement from his search of his AT&T account and tracing his phone usage. This is a contemporaneously filed motion. They're saying here, in other words, this is the other motion that we filed today. We want all of the data suppressed. All of this evidence, according to Mr. Kohberger, was illegally obtained. He says here on page 2 that Mr. Kohberger has a privacy interest in his AT&T account information protected by both Article 1, Section 17 of the Idaho Constitution, and by the U.S. Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, that protect against illegal searches and seizures. To get some background about this AT&T account and his phone, please look at the affidavit of probable cause dated December 29th, 2022, that was signed by Detective Brett Payne. It is the first item on the docket, Idaho v. Kohberger. It addresses a cell phone that's called the 8458 phone in that affidavit of probable cause. And in it, Detective Payne addresses the fact that this phone had an AT&T account and that there were certain warrants that were issued in order for law enforcement to obtain data, which they did from AT&T relative to that phone. It says here under the facts section as attributed to the defense. This is their version of the facts. On December 23rd, Corporal Payne of the Moscow Police Department requested a warrant to search the contents of Mr. Kohberger's AT&T account for information regarding his phone's whereabouts between November 12th and November 14th, 2022. That is, of course, the day before and the day after the horrendous events that happened on November 13th at 1122 King Road, as well as messages and phone calls during that period. However, the affidavit and warrant went beyond that range. After the warrant was granted, according to the defense, law enforcement received information from AT&T. This then led to a second warrant that allowed them to place this pen trap and trace device onto Mr. Kohberger's phone. And the next few pages talk about why it is that this data, this information must be thrown out. Bottom of page 3, both the Fourth Amendment and Article 1, Section 17 protects people's interest in their privacy. A person challenging a search has the burden of showing, and that is Mr. Kohberger here, that he or she had a legitimate expectation of privacy in the item or place searched. Here, this is his cell phone that has been referred to as the 8458 phone. The top of page 4, the defense provides us with some information that we may not have known before regarding the records that the state sought, that included identifying information about the account owner and devices, device purchases information, email addresses associated with the account, and so forth. This concludes by a statement that's signed by both J. Logston and Ann Taylor that this evidence must be suppressed or thrown out. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. Thank you as always for joining us here today.